Hi, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. Before I get going with this video, I just want to take a moment to thank our friends Gordon and Nick very much for your donation to our channel's PayPal account. All donations in the month of December are going towards surgeries for our new dog and a new wheelchair for him. So I really appreciate that from me, my family, and Marley. Thank you. Another year wraps up. I can't thank you guys enough for your continued support. Your donations have really helped to keep the channel going and keep the channel growing. It really allows for me to do some research and to kind of stay one step ahead of changing trends within our community. And of course, every subscription is greatly appreciated. We're at almost 25,000 guys. Wow, that's amazing. Every time you like and share a video, it really does help to support the channel. So I am absolutely grateful to each and every one of you and want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. You guys know part of my healing process has been restoring my career as an artist. Now I just want to tell you guys a quick story to kind of set this video up. Years ago, when I first met Trevor, I was on the board of directors, the originating board of directors with an artist incubator in Alberta called The Hive. And as part of that group, I have to tell you, I really felt creatively satisfied because I was working with a great group of like-minded people. I had a beautiful studio. We all had beautiful studios that were open to the public, and the general public could come in and watch us work and ask us questions about our work. And we had a little gift shop in the front, and it was this really fabulous interactive artistic space, and I was absolutely thrilled and delighted with it. Now, of course, I start dating Trevor, and some evenings, of course, I couldn't spend any time with him because I would tell him, no, I can't see you tonight, I'm going to the Hive. And of course, love bombing and idealization, that stuff was moving really, really fast. I was really swept up by it, and he kept telling me that I don't need to go to the Hive. I don't need to attend those meetings. I don't need to be a part of that because we've got lots of room at the house, and I could very easily set up the same type of beautiful studio at home. I could work in my pajamas if I wanted to. I could spend all weekend, doing things around the house and working on my jewelry, and what a great opportunity this was going to be for me. Well, I'll tell you, it wasn't long until I gave in. I shut down my studio at the Hive. I moved everything to his house, and every single time I tried to unpack something, he had a reason why I shouldn't. Well, we're going to, do some drywall work, and my stuff's going to get dusty, and we wanted to put in new flooring, and I just have to move it all again. Well, this went on for years with my stuff boxed, and Trevor had single-handedly, completely incapacitated me as a jewelry artist. Now, it was a fairly large house, and there was just really the two of us there. My younger boys were there kind of on and off, and his kids were there on and off. In those days, I still had a separate house, so me and the boys were kind of back and forth. Anyways, years ended up passing, and I finally put my foot down and said, look, I'm setting up a studio. He wouldn't allow me to do it in the house, but did grant me a couple of feet of space in his dirty, tool-filled garage. And ultimately, he destroyed that space. I mean, threw everything on the floor, stomped on it, smashed the jewelry I had made, waiting to go to a retailer. And it was an absolute nightmare. And what I've noticed over the time that I've been healing, and over the last 6 months that I have been working diligently to restore my career as a jewelry artist, a lot of emotional stuff's been coming up. Now, it's not so much the physical process of assembling jewelry, of course, though I do feel a bit out of practice. It's not that. That's coming back quite quickly. It's all the heartfelt sadness that was associated with that, the diminishment of my career, being told I was too old to really have any grasp on what was on, in fashion today, and all these sorts of things, that really kind of left a mark on me. Now, something happened recently with my new pop-up shop here in Bucerias. Well, the store's doing quite well. My little section in that store has been doing extremely well. My pareos have been doing well, the jewelry's doing well, and I feel really good about that. But something kept triggering this kind of notion in my mind, and that notion was, fuck you, Trevor, I am doing well. And that's what I want to talk about today. Biggest aspects of my healing process is developing a much stronger sense of self-awareness. Now, in the time I was with Trevor and during those times when I would get free from him, I always went back because I know I had no grasp of my own self-awareness. Everything was narc-focused. Everything was about fixing Trevor, fixing the relationship, smoothing over problems. Everything was focused away from me. So as part of my healing process, I've really tried to become self-aware, to learn how to identify how I'm feeling. And this I find quite interesting because I really caught this when I was thinking, screw you, Trevor. I am a good jewelry designer. My pareos are desirable. People want to buy those. Now, at this point in my life, 3 years out, living in Mexico, 4 blocks from the beach, my kids doing well, feeling very happy for the most part and feeling very positive as far as an outlook for my career in the future goes, all of that. Like I'm in a pretty good place. So why? Why does this thing keep triggering? Why would I take this happy, productive, really positive thing and revert it back to this abuse, to Trevor, to the things he said? And this is about flashbacks, and flashbacks are very, very real. Now, there are 2 kinds of flashbacks, and of course, one is going to be where the victim of the abuse is very much in that moment. Now, let's just say a sexual attack or a violent attack or some sort of very traumatic extreme event. And when people will have a flashback of that event, they quite often relive that, and they're right in that moment again. But there's another type of flashback that really doesn't, bring up the visuals or that whole thing in real time for you again, but what it does is it brings up the feelings of that. And what I'm finding for me is there is a definite feeling of sadness and negativity and real heartbreak associated with my work as a jewelry artist now. When I make what I consider to be a really great necklace, I find myself thinking, you see, Kim, you do still have it. Yes, you can do it. And all of that is very new for me. I mean, there was never a time throughout my jewelry career where I would stop and reflect back on something horrible. It was just this very fluid, creative process. And I find it's not that anymore. Now, I'm going to stay at it. I'm much more self-aware of what's happening to me. And I have really been having to do some very serious soul searching and ask myself, why at this point in my life, at this point in my career, when my career really looks like it's bouncing back, in a pretty positive way, does every great jewelry design result in a finger up to an abuser? And I'm wondering why, I'm still making this connection after 3 years. And this, over the last 10 days, has really driven me down a path of real self-exploration. And you're trying to better understand what's happening with these flashbacks. How do I minimize these flashbacks? And how do I eventually just eliminate them altogether? Abuse was real. The abuse was very methodical, very calculated, very, very intentional. The abuse that was inflicted on me in the category, and there were many categories of abuse, but in the category of my career as an artist, the abuse was extremely specific, very intentional, and truly did target that career. So I guess I have to sit back and say, okay, the way I'm feeling is probably very natural as a result of this very intentional, very specific type of abuse regarding my career. It is very, very natural to feel at odds as I proceed to try and restore that career. And the negative outcome of abuse is very real. Post-traumatic stress disorder, adrenal fatigue, all of these things are very real, and very, very normal, natural feelings are resulting from this abuse. And I know when I talk to many of you, it's very hard to just stop and say, okay, I'm in something right now. You know, I'm having a moment. I'm having a very uncomfortable, very burdensome sort of feeling. Like I do feel very burdened by it. And I guess, you know, all the research I've done over the last 10 days tells me that this is very natural. And I find some comfort in that because sometimes, you know, being a victim of narcissistic abuse, I feel like a freak. You know, I find myself very at odds with people, or I used to be very outgoing. I find myself self-isolating, and that's all very, very new as a result of the abuse. I find I'll get quite quiet and really at a loss for words, and that was never a problem for me over my lifetime. So there are definite changes that have occurred, and just understanding that they are natural. I will work my way through them. I feel extremely positive that, you know, having a heightened sense of self-awareness and being able to connect to my own emotional state will help me to process that and get over it. And I know many of you are going through the same thing, so I know I'm not alone. I think anytime these issues come up for us, where flashbacks, whether they are really being lived out in a very visual way or we're just having a feeling as a result of it, the one thing, the one foundation that we all have to hang on to and know to be true is we will heal from this. Together, we are going to heal from this. And knowing that is what I grab onto when, you know, I'm having a great day making jewelry, and all of a sudden I start thinking, you know, Trevor's narrative will just start playing out in my head. You're too old, you're too fucked up, you're too stupid, you can't do it. You know, all this stuff is playing out. And yeah, I have to stop in that moment and say, okay, this is very natural result of abuse. Times here at the channel I've said the greatest revenge we will ever get on a narc is personal growth and genuine success. Feeling good about ourselves will always be the ultimate revenge against a narcissist. But when I find myself making a great jewelry design, you know, and thinking, fuck you, Trevor, I guess I don't want to make karma jewelry. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm, you know, making revenge jewelry, that my success is now somehow connected to this horrible thing that happened to me. I really want to be making jewelry that feels really fluid and creative and really inspired, you know, not somehow connected to that. And this is my sort of moment, my breakthrough moment of self-awareness, where I did catch myself doing that. And I'm not sure how I feel about that, but I'm really reaching out to you guys. And, you know, I want to know, as you work your way through healing, do you find yourself meeting milestones or achieving successes and thinking, ha, screw you? I like to think that my jewelry designs are the product of inspired creative thinking. And, you know, a couple of times I caught myself recently going, ha ha, you see, I still have it. And that thought was a direct result of being told I didn't have it. So yeah, I was kind of stuck in this moment, you know, in my studio going, oh my God, I'm making revenge jewelry. I certainly don't walk into my studio anticipating making revenge jewelry, but I definitely see how the abuse has played out in my career as a jewelry artist. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, if any of you have experienced anything like this. And I think first, above and beyond everything else, we have to know in our hearts that we are going to heal from this. And this self-exploration is really just part of this journey. Guys, I love you lots. I wish you all a wonderful Merry Christmas. And I'm looking forward to a wonderful New Year together. I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. I'd love to hear your comments if you've been experiencing anything like this, and I hope you're having a great narc-free day.